Warning, this video is not targeted to kids and may be inappropriate to younger audiences. Your discretion is advised. Hello, dudes and dudettes. It's your favorite reject gamer Mixer17 here, and I am back for another, or the continuation of Arkham City Stories. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually a little surprised the fact that I can actually do this in 2 episodes. Here I was thinking I might have to do 6 episodes. I'm like, great, and people are gonna start thinking I'm actually squeezing the absolute life out of this thing. No, I'm not trying to do that. I'm actually trying to show everything I can about this game. Actually, everything that's somewhat important. And one of which is, of course, the Arkham City Stories. Now, I suggest that you stay after I say my goodbye, because there's a little something that I gotta show you. And I'm not gonna upload another video on the day I upload these 2 videos, so yeah. Anywho, continue onward, we now have Talia's guard. Even though she is a fearsome warrior in her own right, as Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Talia was always shadowed by a secretive order of highly trained female protectors, known as the Elite Guard. Each individual guard is chosen generations in advance and trained from birth to be the best of the best, easily compatible of holding her own against 100 men. Holy crap! Chosen by generations in advance. How does that work? Brokering deals. I don't know how do you pronounce that. Sherman Fine, aka the Broker, has carved out a lucrative business in Gotham City by being the go-to guy to purchase property. Mainly hired by a criminal underclassman class, Sherman will find and arrange all the necessary paperwork to ensure that the deal will go untraced while providing exactly what the client needs. In the past, he has purchased rooms on behalf of the Great White Shark, Mr. Zsasz, and the Joker. When planning his revenge on Batman, the Riddler took advantage of Broker's services and secured the buildings that would later house his challenges. That explains a lot now. Scarface, 1 out of 2. The original Scarface puppet was carved with from the old gallows tree in Blackgate Prison, and eventually fell into the hands of the meek Arnold Wesker, who disappointed his mafia family by showing more interest in ventriloquism than gunplay. Scarface became an unlikely mob boss in Wesker's hands, until Wesker was locked up in Arkham Asylum without his precious puppet. Forced to improvise, he scrounged up materials for a new Scarface. One left mute upon Wesker's departure from the asylum. When Joker took over Arkham, he discovered Scarface in lockup and took a liking to the puppet. Scarface quickly received a garnished repaint and a new voice, completed with a demented laugh and a twisted sense of humor. Scarface, 2 out of 2. When Batman shut down the Joker's riot in Arkham Asylum, it seemed that the relationship between the newly demented Scarface puppet and the clown Prince of Crime had ended, until one of Joker's henchmen, Muggsy Binks, showed up to the steel mill in Arkham City. He'd rescued Scarface from the old asylum, knowing that it would buy him a favor with Joker, and Muggsy was skillful enough to make a dozen more copies, freeing the Joker to to mid to mutilate any puppet that failed to amuse him. After all, another Scarface could quickly be built up for him to laugh with abuse and then break into pieces. Joker's only regret is that people aren't so easily toyed with and replaced. Or are they? That might actually explain a bit, but I can't say at the moment. Huh. Catwoman and Two-Face, 1 out of 3. Holy crap. Alright. As Strange's grip tightened and the gates of Arkham City slammed shut on Gotham's criminals, only 3 were left at large. Two-Face, Catwoman, and Batman. That's strange. Catwoman sat in her apartment, debating whether to flee when her phone rang. On the other side, an unmistakable voice of Two-Face. "Sorry, kitty cat, but one of us had to go down." Suddenly, tiger guards were at her door. Fleeing, Catwoman fought her way through guard after guard, to the safety of a nearby roof. She could only watch as the guards ransacked her apartment until they found her safe. She readied her claws, but a shadowy figure appeared behind her and held a glove over her mouth until she passed out. Wait, what? Catwoman and Two-Face, 2 out of 3. Catwoman came to in the Batmobile as it raced through the streets of Gotham. She angrily told Batman that he should not have gotten involved. Batman told her to give up on her loot and leave town before it was too late. Undeterred, she asked how Batman knew so much about Arkham City. He explained that he had found a secret room in Sharp's office back at Arkham Asylum, filled with detailed plans for the new prison complex. I actually found that secret office, and I don't know if I actually made a video about it, but I actually did find it, and it was difficult to actually find the damn thing. Anywho, Batman. Catwoman thanked him and pressed the emergency eject button on her seat. The Batmobile screeched to a halt, but it was too late. Catwoman had disappeared, and Batman knew exactly where she was headed. Catwoman and Two-Face, 3 out of 3. Two-Face was already in the warden's office in Arkham Asylum, photographing the plans to the secret vault inside Arkham City. As Catwoman burst into the room, Two-Face laughed as he tossed the originals into the fire. Jesus Christ. Furious, she knocked him into the ground, grabbed the camera, and ran. With seemingly no escape for either of them, the Tiger Guards alerted. Closing in fast, Catwoman was suddenly pulled to safety by Batman, leaving Two-Face to be captured. As Catwoman ascended, she opened the camera to reveal her prize, only to find a memory card had vanished. She looked down at Two-Face, who was showing her the card, before calmly swallowing it. Furious, Catwoman sliced through the line and plummeted to the ground, only to be surrounded by guards and arrested and taken to Arkham City. That's pretty awesome for her to do that. Anywho, Tigers in the City. After disagreeing with Commissioner Gordon over the policing of Arkham City, Quincy Sharp announced that a private firm had been commissioned to provide a total security solution. Tiger, unknown to everyone but Hugo Strange, each Tiger operative was profiled and implanted with a psionic suggestion that made them unquestionably loyal to him and him alone. Vicky Vale. When Vicky Vale first interviewed Quincy Sharp just days after the events of Arkham Asylum, she felt something was wrong. Sharp's later appearance was Gotham Nightliner show that she co-host confirmed her suspicions. Convinced that Sharp was not the hero he made himself out to be, Vale pressed him for answers and he became confused, struggling with the facts. As she moved for the journalist's kill, she was shocked when Sharp suddenly regained his composure, answering all of her questions with authority. It was as if he suddenly spoke with someone else's voice. Whatever was going on, Vale became even more determined to uncover the truth. Final four. Wonder City, 1 out of 3. Over a century ago, the mysterious Ra's al Ghul arrived in Gotham City and met with the Gotham elders. Even then, Gotham was a crime-ridden, lawless place. Ra's promised a brighter future for all in exchange for a deed of the north end of the city. The Gothamites laughed at this strange man until he produced more gold than they have ever seen. The deed in hand, Ra's began construction of a new city, a utopia version powered by clean, free energy. With no crime, the future would be bright, and as the last brick laid by the slaves he had shipped in from his homeland, Ra's presented the future of Gotham, Wonder City. Which was super advanced, by the way. Jesus. Wonder City, 2 out of 3. Mechanical guardians watched over the population of Wonder City, while behind the scenes, lawbreakers were removed and executed. Wonder Tower stood above all, a monument to prosperity, but for Ra's, a real reason for choosing this location was simple. Beneath the streets, he had located a chemical source that he called Lazarus. A small dose of it would rejuvenate a person, but Ra's believed that with enough power, the Lazarus could be supercharged to defeat any element, even death itself. Unknown to all of Ra's and his engineers, Wonder Tower was actually a giant lightning rod. When the time was right, he would test his theory. Wonder Tower, or Wonder City, 3 out of 3. I'm actually my throat's starting to hurt. Wonder City continued to operate for months before the effect of prolonged exposure to the Lazarus chemical became clear. It was driving the city's inhabitants insane. When Ra's al Ghul failed to act, the newly formed Gotham City Hall did. Wonder City was declared a public health hazard and quarantined. Troops dragged the screaming citizens out of their homes, straight into Arkham Asylum. Ra's al Ghul disappeared. As Gotham searched into the sky, new neighborhoods were built over Wonder City until the site was all but forgotten. Some years later, Ra's returned in need of his old Lazarus pit. As his forces began the mining process, the streets above collapsed, but Ra's forced them to keep digging, which he eventually found. And now, finally, the final story, which my voice is starting to really bug me, the payphone killer. At first, it was just missing people, last seen near payphones, but then the bodies started to appear, mutilated and posed. Stories of a payphone killer spread fast. As the sound of the ring phones haunted the streets, Mr. Zsasz smiled, hiding in a lair he purchased from the broker. He monitored an array of surveillance cameras pointing at each payphone in Arkham City. Each victim answered his call. He acted fast, following them, tracking their movements, and then, when the time was right, killing them. It was perfect. He knew one day he would see Batman holding that phone, and then he would be able to carve his final mark. Which never happened, of course. And there we have it, people, with my voice almost completely destroyed. And me having been able to complete all the stories, including the bios, the interview tapes, and a few other things along the way. That is it. I am done with this. Next up, I'll be slowly starting to finish off the whole Arkham City series. And I might even take a break of the Arkham franchise in general, because Arkham Knight is probably even longer than Arkham City with a few things. So, without further ado, I have to say thank you everyone for joining me in this adventure, and I hope you actually stayed and watched the whole thing, because man, my voice is like killing me right now, and it's kind of late. I kind of want to go to bed, so yes, thank you everyone for seeing this, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.
Shh, there. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna kill for you the whole damn world.